This is part 2 of endometriosis locations in the body. Part 1, I shared the most commonly found areas of the body for endometriosis. Now I'm going to get into the juicy stuff. And this next one I find really, really interesting. So they say that it is most common for extrapelvic, meaning endometriosis that is found outside of the pelvis. It's most common for that to happen in older generations of endometriosis patients, which is wild because the most common place for endometriosis to be found that is considered extrapelvic is actually the GI or gastrointestinal tract. And what's wild about that is the fact that we know that embryos have been found to have endometriosis cells in them, meaning that before birth, endometriosis is technically present. Now, that means you're telling me a person who had symptoms of endometriosis, I am talking endobelly at the age of 5 years old, and then later was diagnosed with stage 3 endometriosis, had to have my ovary removed and my appendix removed, and you told me that I had deep infiltrating disease, but at 5 years old, I wasn't the older generation. So why was I experiencing endobelly as a child? I think there's more we have to learn on this, and that's what's crazy about the medical field and science, is it's like science is always like debunking each other. So I'm really curious to see what we learn more about this. Now, I've got more to say after my whole shenanigans about myself. Sorry, selfish of me. Let's keep going. So let's just do a little recap. This here is a list of all of the most common pelvic areas of the body that endometriosis is found. This is where it gets a little weird because they say that the second most common extrapelvic type of endometriosis is urinary, but that's more talking about like your ureters, your kidney, like that whole system, because the bladder is technically considered pelvic, so that wouldn't be extrapelvic. You see what I mean? So there are some differences there. So maybe they need to rename it like extragenital, or that sounds weird, but something, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to define the differences there. Anyways, this list is the most common places that extrapelvic endometriosis is found in the body.